The Accountant-WHO broke Hitler's secret code, the untold legacy of William Tutte. 1. The era that changed history. August 1941. Berlin's high command hummed with mechanical precision as encrypted orders shot across occupied Europe. The messages, Hitler's own directives, traveled through a new cipher machine far more intricate than Enigma. This was Lorenz-encrypted, a monster of 12 rotating wheels producing billions of combinations. The Germans called it invincible. The British called it tunny. At Bletchley Park, a young clerk named William Tutte received 2 near-identical messages intercepted by British stations. A careless German operator had sent the same long message twice using the same key, an unforgivable mistake in cryptography. Tutte, armed only with pencil, paper, and sheer tenacity, saw patterns where others saw chaos. He deduced that 12 wheels governed the cipher's rhythm, each with a unique stepping sequence. Without ever seeing the machine, he reverse-engineered its structure. So what does that actually mean? Tutte solved a code blindfolded, using nothing but logic and patience. Footnote. This section introduces the Lorentz cipher's accidental exposure and Tutte's deduction of its inner structure using only intercepted messages. 2. Turning symbols into machines. By 1942, Tutte's sketches had turned into blueprints. The research section, a small unit buried deep within Bletchley Park, could now replicate the Lorentz cipher on paper, an achievement bordering on science fiction. Each of the 12 wheels had a function, 5 produced the chi stream, 5 the psi, and 2 motor wheels controlled their rhythm. The problem wasn't theory anymore, it was time. Decoding a single message took weeks, an unsustainable pace and a war decided by hours. The solution arrived in the form of an engineer named Tommy Flowers, who looked at Tutte's logic and asked, why not let a machine do it? The answer was Colossus, the world's first programmable electronic computer. Colossus didn't invent Tutte's logic, it embodied it. His equations became its circuitry. Suddenly, what once took weeks now took hours. Footnote. This section describes how Tutte's mathematical model inspired the creation of Colossus, transforming manual codebreaking into automated computation. 3. Reading Hitler's mail. By 1944, Bletchley Park could read German high command messages almost in real time. Every intercepted Lorentz transmission, Hitler's personal instructions to generals, was fed through Colossus at 5,000 characters per second. When a pattern aligned, Tutte's testery team translated it into plain German. What they uncovered changed the war. The decrypts confirmed that German intelligence expected the Allied invasion to strike near Calais, not Normandy. Operation Fortitude, the Great Deception, was working perfectly. Other messages revealed German exhaustion on the Eastern Front, giving Allied leaders confidence to push forward. So what does that actually mean? Tutte's logic, born in a drafty English hut, was steering the largest military operation in history. Footnote. This section explains how Tutte's decrypts provided intelligence that directly influenced Allied strategy during D-Day and the Eastern Front campaigns. 4. The Vanishing Genius. When the war ended, Tutte's machines were dismantled, his notes burned, and his name erased. The work was so secret that even most of Bletchley's staff never knew it existed. Tutte returned quietly to Cambridge, unable to tell anyone that he had helped invent the first computer. He later moved to Canada, becoming a professor at the University of Toronto. There, he built an entirely new branch of mathematics, graph theory, without ever mentioning the code he had broken. Imagine being the man who helped end a world war and then going back to grade papers. Footnote. This section outlines Tutte's post-war anonymity and his transition from codebreaker to pioneering mathematician in graph theory. 5. Rediscovery and recognition. For 30 years, Tutte's achievement lay buried under classification stamps. The world believed Alan Turing's Enigma work was the pinnacle of wartime codebreaking. Not until 1974 did declassified records reveal another, deeper secret: Hitler's most complex cipher had been solved first by an accountant-turned-mathematician. Journalists were stunned. Tutte had reverse-engineered the Lorentz machine entirely through deduction, anticipating the principles of computer architecture and information theory before Claude Shannon made them famous. Historians quietly revised their equations of genius. Footnote: this section recounts the 1970s declassification of the Lorentz project and Tutte's belated acknowledgement as a co-founder of modern computing. 6. The reluctant hero? When reporters finally reached him in the 1980s, Tutte downplayed everything. It was logical deduction, he said, as if solving an unbreakable Nazi cipher were a Sudoku puzzle. Honors eventually followed: Fellow of the Royal Society, the Order of Canada, and exhibitions at the restored Bletchley Park Museum, where Colossus now runs again in his memory. But Tutte never sought fame. He preferred chalkboards to cameras, equations to applause. His story reminds us that not all heroes wear uniforms, some just sharpen pencils. Footnote: this section depicts Tutte's later life, his humility despite international recognition, and his enduring influence on computer science and logic. 7. Legacy of logic. Today, every computer and every encryption algorithm carries traces of Tutte's thinking, patterns, structure, repetition, logic. He proved that pure reasoning could pierce even the most guarded systems of power. His battlefield was paper, his weapon, the human mind. So what does that actually mean? That sometimes, saving the world doesn't require armies, just one quiet man doing the math. Footnote: this section concludes that Tutte's logical methods underpin modern computing, symbolizing intellect as the ultimate force in wartime and beyond.